That's a weird bit of loading. I was going to wait until we got right into the pit lane action here, ladies and gentlemen, but it came out with a little 30-second countdown for us, went to 0, and now we're back to a minute. But welcome back to Season 5, round number 2. It's F2 here in the Esports Masters League. F2, of course, or F1. Other stream kicking off at the same time. But going to be plenty of action here tonight. Now, you might be sitting thinking, hold on, Lesty sounds a little bit different. He unfortunately could not make it alongside me tonight, so I am going to take the reins. It's, of course, myself, CRL Freefall, better known as Scott. And that meant I had to go on the hunt for a co-host. And I'm very, very thrilled to announce that I've got the one and only Joshua Evans in alongside me, the mad Welshman himself. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
Not too bad. I'm doing quite bad actually. I got my throat feels like it's in a gutter, but happy to join you to give you an hand on a secondary.
Absolutely, a little bit of Kravitz pundery from yourself. The other thing you might have noticed as well, the keen-eyed amongst you, we're not in the normal cars tonight. We're, of course, reverting back to multiplayer cars. The ever-present nuisance that is Codemaster at times has decided to mess about with the tired egg and the sort of the pace difference of the different constructors. So multiplayer cars for tonight. Majority of drivers and teams have got a nice little theme in, so hopefully it'll keep things straightforward, but we'll try our best to keep you in the loop of who is in what team and who. As I like to do, you'll soon realise I'm a bit of a rambler. We're on board then. The first car out for this qualifying session, Jaws, it is, of course, Andrew. He is one of the WOR drivers tonight, in alongside VIR Snips in this nice red and black livery. Of course, the big team that we'll be keeping an eye on, it's CPI Matthias and his teammate CPI Al Pacino. A 1-2 for them at Silverstone last week in what was a brilliant bit of racing. Of course, McKellar NL taking that top spot ahead of his teammate Lattice. Lattice starting on pole, McKellar starting in P4 and working his way through in a brilliant battle with the likes of IRT Julian back here once again tonight. He took third last week. He's back on the grid for IRT and we'll see what he can do once again. But the first lap of the night starting off here, Josh, and it is
That's not fun at all. He's already been blocked, by the way. I don't know if you just noticed that. But instantly, there's a car sat on the apex in turn 1. I know I'd be raging if that was me. But luckily, because this is first lap. Oh, what? Another bit of traffic there for him. So started a bit early and got a bit unlucky. I wouldn't be happy, but luckily it's the first lap of the session. He's got a lot of chances to try and fix it and get out of the way from it. But that's annoying. Usually when you go on your first lap of the session, you just want to get a decent banker in. But that might have took a chunk of time out of his turn 1 because the apex itself is already hard enough without any outside factors. But he's doing all right so far on the rest of the lap. Obviously going purple in the second, obviously because he's the first driver. But it doesn't look too bad. Lines are good. No line, don't forget, around here for these guys. So what we're seeing is what they're seeing as well. But yeah, it looks like a tidy lap so far. He's hitting the apex, coming around, using the exit just about enough. Could use a bit more if anything. But again, looks tidy. Just looks like a decent banker to get himself started in the session. Same with the rest around him. A bit of traffic already in the final sector. For some people overlapping on laps and out laps, but should be okay. 117 flat for Andrew, or Anru, however you say it for the WR driver, but don't look too bad. But Snipes takes out a 16.8, 2/10 on him already on the banker, which could have been the difference with turn 1, but we'll see.
Yeah, not the best way to start your lap time ever. 17 flat, not too bad of a banker. His teammate there, like you say, 2 attempts clear. We're on board then with IRT Julian, the third car to set a time, and he goes top of the pots, a 16.8, 30, 11 thousandths clear of Snipes. Let's get on board with LE Tedo or Tido. Again, apologies for these pronunciations. They might be a little bit hit and miss as we get to know some of the drivers. But he's rounding this final corner, getting that rear wing of the car open wide as he can and straight lining it down to the start-finish line. The 17.121 provisional P5 slots in behind Anrum. His teammate Michelle XB going P3 at the moment. LRN Thomas in for P6. EP Jordan DHL is coming up the line in that lovely, lovely green car of theirs. A 17.181. Very, very tight to Thomas's. Phil LPO3 is 16.695. Going well clear up at the top. I'm going to jump on board then with, let's not jump aboard with Mateus, he's just invalidated. What about Not Eve? They're coming up to finish their first flying run, and it is a 1:17.31. So early indications here, Josh, we're into the mid-16s. We're probably going to find a little bit of time and hopefully get down to the low 16s. But do you have a...
I'll be honest, when last time I drove Australia was a few weeks back in another league, and I'm terrible at quali. I'm all about the race, but I reckon they can definitely get down a bit lower if they're doing a 0.6 in the first lap with a bit of track growth. I think maybe they'll break to the point. I don't know actually, 0.1s or 2s. I don't know if there's that much time in it, but it might be somewhere between the 0.2 or 3. We'll see.
Bold prediction. We were a little bit over exaggerated, I suppose you could say, last week, as Ledrid a 17.559 the lap time in his lap from that banker. But yeah, we were a little bit maybe over optimistic, I think the word would be, last week, Josh. We predicted them a couple of times faster than they actually were. So I'm going to go for a 16.250. Roughly right on that mark, get kind of as accurate as I hopefully can. But the majority of the first bankers in, Haribo is starting his first run, so we'll get a lap on board with him as he comes through turns 1 and 2 of this Melbourne street circuit. Of course, 3.28 miles long, 5.278 kilometres long, with 16 corners, many of them famous and well known at that. Brabham and Jones, of course, of 1 and 2. Currently going through 5 of White Lord, I believe it is. 6, 7 and 8 next up, that right, left, and then little right bend. Not much of a corner, but enough to make a turn off the wheel. 9 and 10, of course, these little kinks before the tricky 11 and 12, the fast left-right chicane. It can really catch you out if you run a little bit wide, and can compromise a lap time severely. DRS, of course, the third of 4, I suppose, if you count it the way I like to count it. The first, of course, being on the exit of 1 and 2. The third being on that down back straight towards the chicane. Third on the run down to the double right-hander. And the fourth, or first, I suppose, on the run to turn 1. Out of the final corner, though, gets very loose on the rear of that car, but it is going to be up to the line for Haribo, and it is going to be a 17.152, goes provisional P8 at the moment. RCR McQueen is currently on a lap time, of course. They currently find themselves second in the standings. CPI with that 1-255 points at the top. They are 25 clear of Race Concept. IRT, though, only 5 adrift from the French outfit, so we'll be looking to capitalise maybe some points tonight, and it is very tight from there on down. WOR Esports on 22, Legacy Pit Lane on 20 with LDL on 18, 14 for RVL, LRN and P8 with 13 points, TGT bringing up the rear of those that raced last week with only 8 points, and of course Juventus Racing did not make it to the grid last week, so they are on -5, but of course 1 round into the championship, plenty to play for, and plenty to play for in this qualifying session, Josh.
Yeah, it's looking good so far. I know, as my time doing no line and stuff, Australia is one of them tracks where you can have it nailed on. You know the track layout, and you know your lines and stuff. But there's so many corners, so many quick corners that aren't necessarily just a blueprint of a corner. So it's I'm trying to figure out how to put this, but there's a lot of corners where there's a lot of variability with how quick they are, and you can take a few different lines, and most of the time when it comes to qualifying no line around a track like Austria, because it's so fast paced, you do end up just making some of those errors throughout the lap, but eventually it all does come together. But everyone's looking alright so far. There's a few people yet to set a lap on their first run, probably with invalidations and stuff like that, but I think there's definitely room for improvement from most of them. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think a lot of people are just happy to get a lap down initially, because it's always nice having a delta, even if you invalidate. If I take my first lap and I invalidate even very early on, I don't like to come back into the pits prematurely. I do like to finish the lap even though it is in the red, because you just get that delta and it's a nice bit of gratification as you're trying to improve on your second lap. But yeah, it should be good. I think Phil is on a lap now at the front, so we'll see how he's doing. He's just in sector 2, and he's down by a tenth and a half, so not looking to improve. But it's a very nice quick left-right chicane, so maybe he's got a bit of time in the last sector for his lap. But we'll see. Coming around the right-hander now, goes very deep, locks the rears. Nasty, nasty, nasty corner to do that. Because once you lock the rears, there's really no fixing it because of how sharp the corner is. But yeah, I think that one will be done, and because he's already got a delta, I expect him to pull into the pits, which he is. Yeah, it's annoying because you really want to try and gradually improve rather than trying to improve from the start, Della. But unfortunately, Remy's second lap isn't going to be anything to look forward to.
On the final corner. Meanwhile, IRT Julian and JR Neils cracking into the 16.6s alongside Phil. He potentially does have a bit more in the tank. And speaking of laps going in the bin there, Jordan DHL. And another one there, the purple car of JR
he's out. He's done.
Evalon. Yep, into the barrier. That front left tyre gone. That's a second retirement of this session, really showing, like you said, how easy it is for a little mistake to creep in and be a bit disastrous here.
It's tough as well, because when you come around that corner on no line, you can tell as soon as you turn in that you've messed the line up, or it's a bit off compared to what you're usually doing. But your gut tells you want to just keep the foot down and try and make it work. But sometimes when you do that, you just end up in the right hand side wall. Sometimes you get a tank slapper and you can even smash into the left hand side one. But yeah, it's annoying. Maybe if maybe you should have took a bit of a calm line there and just tried to make sure he didn't retire. But maybe a bit of distraction from the driver ahead. I don't know how close they were when they both crashed. I don't know if there was a bit of time, but the yellow flag's popping up as you turn in left into that chicane is not going to be helpful in any way. So maybe a bit of distraction, but unlucky for him.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll start down near the back of the pack. CPI Matthias, he's currently down in the pack, P18, but yet to state a valid time, just rounding this final corner now. That's all he's got left to do, and he's home and dry on what is essentially his banker with 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. It is a 17.618, only enough for provisional P15 at the moment, but he's got a time on the board. He's got that delta, like we spoke about. And that maybe gives him that little bit of confidence now, just to push on, not Eve on a lap. It won't be a valid or an improvement lap, shall I say, going pretty slowly, maybe on a bit of a cool down here. I believe Haribo is just starting a lap. They have invalidated coming through the end of the first sector, so no improvement on this run. And I think that that just leaves RVL Kiki Samir, I believe I'm saying that right, the only driver on a competitive flying lap at the moment, rounds this final corner, which we've seen many cars do tonight, and it's up to the line with an 18.656. A few seconds adrift from the pole time, but it's a lap on the board, Josh.
I was on board. It didn't look like the cleans the lap's a bit scrappy, especially the last corner going a bit wide of the apex, which you can't do because you've really got to nail it in. But yeah, and for retirement there.
Yeah, sorry the jump
that is on track.
That was through the first two corners, just lost it on the entry to turn 2. That car snapping across to the right, and the rear right tyre coming off the suspension. A very, very strange retirement. Normally it's the front axles that are coming loose, but
I tell you what, that would have been with probably the trickiest corner on the track for me. It's definitely turn 1, because the apex that you have to cut on the right hand side is so elevated compared to most of the apexes on the track. But the thing is, if you don't take your throttle off while you're apexing, sometimes the rears just get away and you're into that right hand side barrier, similar to the left right chicane. So I expect, without me seeing what's happened, I'll put my money on that being the case for him.
I'd back you to the hilt with that. And Kiki asked me, I believe, having a very similar thing through the fast left right, getting a little bit loose through the right hand section, running onto that exit curb, and the car putting on A very, very nice looking drift. Anru then is out on a flying lap. I haven't just caught the end of the first sector, what the delta time is, but we'll get a nice idea as he has this rundown, the second or third DRS straight of the night of this lap to the end of the second sector. 2.214 of the best time at the moment, but maybe a little bit of pace to be found in this final sector, of course. Only 4 corners to go, 2 to the right, 3 to the right, sorry, 1 to the left, and we've seen a few mistakes creep in through them so far, so the lap definitely not over and dry as of yet, and in fact he is going to pull into the pits, going to abandon it, try and get in a quick fresh set of tyres and go, as we only have 2 minutes 40 left in this session, Josh, and there's going to be a flurry of cars. We can already see it on that mini-map flying out of the pits to try and get that last run in.
Yeah, definitely. I personally, whenever I'm racing, I hate sitting behind half the grid around that last sector, so I'm usually one of those ones that likes to get out early. I'm trying to find him. There he is. The Ellie Tito, he's usually something that I would do. I like to get out ahead and just make sure you got free track, because especially on no line for like these guys, having you can go either way. You can either thrive by having someone in front of you as a reference, or you can hate it. And I was one of those in the quali where I hated having a car right ahead of me. It's not great to start to his lap. He's had a bit of a speed wobble on a rears going into it, but we'll see how his lap is. But he's got free track now. He should be able to. I tell you what, he might actually face a bit of traffic depending on how quick these lot go. His second apex is nice there. Doesn't try to jump the curb, which is it's just by choice really. You can either not touch it and get some nice speed and safety in the next apex, or you can hit it and try and carry it. But lovely apex is here. A bit of a wobble on that one. Touches this one. Nice exit there, carrying the speed. I love this corner. This corner is so fun to do on wheel. Swoops around. He gets a bit of oversteer on the fronts there, not being able to take the exit curb quite how he'd like to. Traffic's opening up for him a bit, so he's not too worried. He's got a snot green car you're getting on the way for him, which is pretty nice, not being a visual impairment. Very bad apex though, and he's paid for it with speed there. He's had to lift off. That's a complete lap killer. I think that'll be him done for this session. He could make an improvement being on a 17-1, but no, I think he's backed out of that one and going to let everyone get on with their laps. It was looking good up until the left-right, but he just swung it in at a nasty angle and couldn't carry the pace.
Absolutely. Might have a time if he can get a bit more battery into the car to go again. While that was going on, I was sort of jumping in between the two of them. EP Jordan, DHL, going into the 16.6s, the lowest 16.6s, as Haribo has retired.
Yeah. Oh, bloody hell. Yeah, so the first chicane just lost it. Lost it to the left, actually. A bit of oversteer on the left apex. And he's chopped the wheel up. He didn't block the guy that was coming in, but I think he was alright. But yeah, tough one for him.
Managed to get away from it. VIR Snipes goes into the 6s, also going P3 at the moment. Mateus has invalidated and will not improve. What about Matozo? Raced a very solid race and a very solid qualifying last week. Yet to put a lap in. It's going to be a one-lap shootout for him. A 16.680 provisional P5 at the moment. EP Jordan, let's ride on board with him as Michelle XB for LE goes top with a 16.454. Jordan into the pits, will not improve. Niels is off at the second to last corner, will not improve. I believe that is it Andrew or Thomas coming through the final corner. He won't improve. Not Eve is on a lap by the looks of things. Josh coming through the third to last corner.
Oh, that's a good exit. Carried a lot of pace there.
I think it is looking a fairly competitive time round in this final corner. We'll see what kind of pace.
I've only seen the last sector. But it looked decent, it looked very clean.
It's only a 16.
A bit improvement, but clean on.
Yeah, I looked at a cleaner, faster lap than that. Snips is not going to improve, so that will just leave Ladrill, who's going to peel off into the pits, and that will be our grid for tonight. So LE Michelle B, another returning driver from last week's race, of course, putting it right up the top of this qualifying grid for Legacy Pit Lane Esports. EP Jordan is going to take P2. He's in for TGT. A very strong performance for the team that struggled a little bit last week. Julian back in P3 for IRT with VIR Snips for WR taking P4. JR Niels in P5 ahead of RCR Matozo. And I believe, Josh, that is 6 teams within the top 6, maybe even 7 within the top 7. I couldn't quite figure out who was there in time, but a nice mix of the teams here in qualifying. But that can mean nothing at all, because we do have a long race here around this track. And is it just me, or has it got a little bit cloudier? Rain could be on the cusp. We'll wait and see.
Looks it.
Of course, no formation lap as well tonight, so we're going to be straight into the action to see pretty shortly. But you know, Josh, you've done a few races here. You've said. Are we going to bet on any rain, any little bit of moisture tonight?
Australia's massive for it. There's always loads of rain, but we'll have to see. It does look a bit darker than it did in the first part of the session, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think we've had anything in the chat about it, and usually drivers who aren't too fond of the rain like to get their message in as soon as they see the rain in qualifying. So if we haven't had one of them, I expect we're going to be having a dry race, but who knows? It might switch around in the end of the session with how long the race is. I think there's definitely going to be safety cars as well. So if there is rain predicted for the end of the race, it's probably going to be prolonged. But it does look nice and dry though in the pit lane from what we're seeing at the moment. But yeah, no formation lap, do you say?
No formation lap. There was a few little bugs and glitches last week in the F1 lobby, so formation lap is off for this week. So it will be straight into the action. 29 laps here ahead of us. Like you say, it is a long race. It is looking dry from what we can see at the moment, but there's always that little hint of rain or moisture ever on the horizon. Safety cars, another crucial thing that could come into the strategy here tonight. Strategy, of course, I think it is the fairly predictable. You know, you can always bank on that hard medium, but we did see a little mix-up from a few drivers last week, going for medium softs and the likes of that, and having to battle through the field at some point. Do you think there's anybody going to gamble on this two-stop tonight, Josh?
I think the only reason you should go for a two-stop round here if safety cars benefit you and the timing, but I don't think there's any need to. The mediums are quite a nice race tyre and the hards, but I'll let you get on with it as the lights go out.
Yeah, but it's going to be 5 red lights here in Australia for round 2 of season. Green car, and all of them at the front at least look to be getting through fairly clean. Snips and Julian having a little bit of wheel bang. There's a lot of shuffling and moving. Yellow flags out already, Josh. Seems to be a bit of action down the back part of the pack.
Yeah, initially looked very clean from the whole 20. Oh, there's another one around there as well in La Drill. Looks to be a bit of punt and passing on the rear of the cars, but it did look pretty formal in the first part of the start. Side by side, two alongside each other. No one really looked to be making a mess or making any dives, but I think just from racing there's been a few taps, and Al Pacino, Drill, and Andrew have taken the brunt of it, but everyone else looking to get around all right. I don't think there's any damage. I didn't see any debris on the floor while everyone was getting away, but I think everyone should be okay. Just a bit of time to make up for the bottom 3, unfortunately. He's gone a bit wide actually, Andrew, so might be a bit of damage there or understeer. Could just be the tyres after taking a trip onto the grass, but yeah, a bit rough for him. But everyone else looking okay, everyone forming into a nice single file. A few gaps being made, but nothing too major apart from P13 and P14 getting close to that DRS limit. But apart from that, everyone looking okay.
Yeah, from the start, a little bit of wheel banging, you can almost call it, between Snips and Julian as Phil and Niels have coming together through turn 1 and 2. That could be rear wing damage as LRN Thomas is out of the session in the first safety car.
Oh wow!
Has been deployed here at the start of lap 2.
Sorry to shout. I don't know what's going on there between Tito and Niels. A bit of moving under the safety car. I think maybe illegal overtakes took play, and I think one of them wasn't too happy to give the position back. There's a bit of a Baku, Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton sort of moment alongside each other, but a bit tricky, a bit weird. Not too sure what happened there. But yeah, 2 out already within lap 2 of the track, of the race, sorry, around the Australian track. But at least all the ones that got unlucky, the Al Pacinos, your Andrew and your Tito, get a chance to come back and have a fresh start quite early onto the race. I think it's a bit curious to what Jordan will do, because I wouldn't want to be on them softs for too long. I think if he pits now, he's going to lose all his positions. So I don't know. I wouldn't have picked softs personally, but let's see what he cooks.
Yeah, we'll see what he comes up with here, whether he does opt to just stay out on the softs, roll the dice a little bit, or if he does pit, of course, he would come out, I believe, P17 at worst, just with how far down the pack Al Pacino is. He is going to stay out on those softs. Other drivers, of course, there is a big mix of hards and mediums. Near enough a 50-50 split here tonight, kind of what we expected to see. But Jordan, EP Jordan, the only one really mixing things up. A few cars into the pit, so Phil, LP, and Niels, of course, caught up in that second lap, first corner damage. And Niels, it did look as if he almost reversed on the rear of the car.
Rear wing damage or something.
I believe that might be the case, rear wing or maybe underfloor suspension damage of some sort. So it's going to be an early night for Niels alongside Thomas and Ladrill. It's unfortunate start for the three of them. 17 cars still in this race though, Josh. And hopefully, I believe, we should get racing come around about lap 5 here in Australia.
Yeah, we should do. I think Al Pacino just coming out now onto hards. I think has he done a double stop there? He says that he's already done a lap on those hards, so I think maybe he started on them and he stopped again to double stop. And I think
he did. He did. He pit at the end of lap 1 from the hards on the mediums. I believe I'm assuming for anyway. Didn't see it, but assuming for a front wing change back onto those hards. Looking to probably try and stretch them in, and gives him a little bit more variation in the strategy options he's got. Of course, he's used 2 sets of tyres now. He doesn't necessarily have to pit, although I'd be very surprised if he does take those hards all the way to the end. Going to be the end of lap 3 here. The safety car pack mostly formed up, just waiting on Al Pacino. So likely, hopefully anyway, we'll get it back in at the end of this next coming lap. Jordan will be all eyes on him for this first early stint, starting on the softs. Of course, Julian in P4 lost out to Snipes, and Snipes on that harder compound, the hardest of the hard runners, as we do have Adam jumping into the pits here at the end of lap 3 off the mediums. Could this be a set of white stripe hards, Josh?
Yeah, I think so. It's a smart tyre to go for. But if he's not got damage, was he on the mediums initially?
He was on the mediums initially.
He's on softs.
He's come on to softs, and he's also had a front wing change here. The LDL driver.
That's different. Let's say that. I wouldn't want to go on softs. It's the fuel load that kills it. The softs are so good at the end of the race, like with a late safety car, because you just got that light car and you can swing it around and you're not putting too much load in. It's like a 5-lapper. But this amount of fuel around Australia, with how much body roll there is in the car, it's going to be grinding down on them softs very early on. He's going to have a bit of an advantage to the guys ahead of him when it does get to racing for a short period. I wouldn't expect it to be too long, because I think his tyres are going to start to feel the temperatures and feel the heat a bit. But I think if anyone's in the best position here, it's the medium runners, because they're getting nice slow laps on their mediums. They're going to be able to carry on for a bit longer than anticipated, but still manage to get that undercut. I think if you start on hards, if you start on the hards as well, I'm pretty sure from experience, pitting off the hards is very similar to the mediums. I think it's pretty much slap bang in the middle. So it'd be interesting, but I think both of them on the hards and mediums are in the best position. I think the soft runners, bit of an outside choice, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a little bit of roll the dice and see what happens. Of course, they're going to get a lot better heating on this restart, and they are going to be right up for racing as we go green flag once again. Michelle B is going to be the de facto pace car, and he's going to not leave it too late here getting the throttle down early out of the final corners. They all run single file, one by one, down towards turn one, and hopefully everything's squeaky clean at this time. The front 4, 5 seem to be getting through nice and easy, but Snipes getting a bit of overspeed here, having a little look at Jordan on the run down to turn 3, but doesn't quite. Oh, he half thought about it. He had a little think about making a move down the inside into turn 3, but thought better off it. But now his attention's got to switch a little bit to Julian, who's fast approaching behind. Almost had an opportunity to present himself to take P3 as things stand. But I think, Josh, a pretty nice and clean restart here in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what, at the back though, there was a bit of a squabbling. Andrew has had an absolute stinker on the hards. And now you can see the soft taking play ahead of him, Adam on Al Pacino, with a pretty good move, pretty standard. So, he's tapped the water. It might be a bit of risk there. I'm getting a bit of lag from Al Pacino. But yeah, Andrew just had a stinker. Instantly around the last corner, he was out of contention for any sort of challenging of the cars ahead. And by turn 1, he'd been passed by everyone. He'd be set at the back. So. Not very good from him, but apart from that, everyone getting away clean and getting back into that DRS formation.
Of course, DRS yet to play a part in this race. Of course, we never got to the stage where the race director enabling it, maybe second time round. Of course, this is the second green flag lap running. If we make it to the end of this one, DRS zones, 2 detection zones, so it gives a good boost to the straight line speed. And of course, if you can make a move through the first DRS, you can use that second one to then try and pull a little bit of way. I'm on board with RCR McQueen29 here. He's trying to launch a little bit of attack on Eve, but also a bit cautious to JR Evilon, who is running very tight behind. No real major gaps forming at this early stage of the restart, apart from the gap from 11 down to P12. Just having a look here, there seems to be a few complaining about lag. It looks alright on my screen, Josh, but of course I'm comms and host here, so I don't know what it's like for yourself if there's any lag spikes coming in.
There's a few at the back that are rubber banding a bit, but it's not too bad. Oh, retirement from Adam. At the back, there's another safety car. That's a very weird place to crash out. He's very far along on the final short straight. And he's crashing on the left. That is a weird one. Andrew's going to get in the pits. I think everyone else hasn't had the chance to because it came out after the fact. But it's a very weird place to crash. Usually if you crash on that, you're swinging into the right-hand side because of how much exit curb you're taking on the left. But maybe a bit of a tank slapper, him trying to fix his error. And he's ended up in the left-hand side wall, which is tough for him. But his race is over for LDL, and that's both of them out. So. No points to take away from Australia for those two. So that is their race done.
Yeah, unfortunate for the LDLP, our second safety car of the night, making its appearance here on lap, well, technically 6, lap 7, of course. Big eyes on Jordan then again this time. What is going to be the strategic call from the TGT driver currently sent in P2 on those soft? Just having a look, I think it is just certain drivers maybe having a bit of a poor connection to myself. We never had any issue last week, so hopefully it's maybe just a one-off. I know there has been some, well, you're speaking from experience, Josh, there's been some technical issues with the UK internet system in the last week, and of course there's been some PSN issues, so
don't get me started.
Maybe a culmination.
Honestly,
of the two.
This week from Sky Broadband to PSN, the language I can't use here, to be honest, but very similar to how Tyson Fury thinks about Sky Broadband. It's been crap. That's probably the most PG thing I can say, but it's been crap. There's probably a few drivers that have felt the same. I don't know is Sky international or are they UK? They're international, right?
I believe they are international in the sense that they are a child company of a big spam. I believe that, tie it all into F1. Telefonica.
Well, whatever they are, they're crap.
There we go.
Honestly, the only thing they're good for is making that McLaren GT3 car look nice. It's nice on that car, but apart from that, it's crap. They can't. The broadband's crap. The TV package is crap. It's all crap. I've literally, for half an hour before this race, I've been sorting out my nan and granddad's TV because they can't get the internet and they can't watch Netflix, and it's been driving me up the wall. My head's banging, and I just hate Sky. I've made it clear. Anyone who knows me, I hate Sky. I can't wait to get rid of them. I'm sick of paying for it. Anyways, let's get back on topic with the race. But I'm happy to vent that because I'm generally getting a bit warm after talking about that because it's doing my head in. But yeah. Andrew 40 seconds behind. He's gonna have to. He should catch as long as the car stays out another lap. He'll be all right. But yeah, he's on 6-lap old hard, so he's not gonna have any advantage. I think he's having a bit of a tough race trying to acclimate to Australia. But yeah, he's gonna have to get a hurry on, I think. Scott.
I'm just sorry. There is talks of maybe a potential restart here, just with
Really?
with the desync.
Oh right, okay. I didn't know it was desync. Well, while Scott's sorting that out, let me check the Bayern score. 2-0 Bayern to United. That don't surprise me. United are crap, just like Sky. Codemasters are crap. Everything's crap. This weather's crap. I'm boiling. I don't know about you, but I'm sweating. The weather's just minging again. But Andrew's in the pits again. Yeah, I think he's going to make it back if this lobby carries on. But I don't know what's going on. Let me have a look on there. Let me have a look on the Discord, see what's going on. Madrid only beat Union Berlin 1-0, by the way. Of course, it's Bellingham scores in the 94th. He's unreal. If I'm Welsh, but if England don't win something this these coming years with that squad, they got something to sort out. Because if they're ever going to win something, it's got to be now. I can't talk much. We went to the World Cup and we didn't even score a goal in open play. So, and you didn't go to the World Cup, so.
We are going to get a restart going here, folks.
Okay.
I do apologise for latest runs. It is just a little bit tricky to try and comms full time and look after everything that's happening, especially when I'm not actually quite sure what the present is. But we are going to get a full restart. I need to see if I can get the qualifying results.
Are we doing a full 50 or 35?
That is also one of the questions I'm trying to find out. So hopefully have that info very, very shortly.
Oh, I can see now. There's a bit of lag at the front now. I can see it. Yeah.
That could be as well. I've left the lobby, so there is.
Yeah. We'll see. Did you hear, by the way, United losing 2-0 for all the football fans? Christ.
I've sent out an invite to everybody, so hopefully drivers can quickly get in. We can get things quickly restarted. As you see me try to fly through the settings. I'm assuming anyway. It looked as if we had a clear and dry race, so that will be the setting used for the weather. On. I believe that is all right. Car damage standard, of course. I'll do a quick run through, and I believe. Settings wise, we are good to go. Minus, of course, the grid, which I will just have to retrieve. But we'll just need to see. see if I can just get a grip of this qualifying grid, Josh. I'll be able to find it somewhere within the stream and make sure everybody is.
Oh, I'll grab it if you're with it. I should have it. Put the adverts. Double unskippable adverts. What a joke.
Oh, I managed to get a hold of it here.
Okay.
We are looking to be alright. Hopefully there is no more of any kind of connection issues or anything as the such. And hopefully drivers can quickly funnel on in.
Well, those ones that crashed out early on get a second chance, which is always nice.
Oh, absolutely. Gives them a second run.
Yeah, I've got the results also if you need me to read them out when you want to double check them.
Spot. Oh, we're just waiting for drivers to peel on in. I do have a lot of red bars, so whether it is maybe it could even be a connection issue on my end with the sort of ongoing issue.
You sound
that's been
good.
happening.
Stream's alright. I've got the same red bars, so I doubt it's you. Bloody hell, I wouldn't want to host.
The joys, mate, the joys.
Honestly.
Just looking to confirm if it will be a full 50% or a 35%. Quickly, while that's happening, you can watch me in live video time putting together this qualifying grid using the editor. So, this is where it gets tricky. Don't make a mistake here, Scott, or there'll be absolute uproar.
I've got it up, so let me know when you want to double check it.
Just looking to see. I don't think Michelle B is in at present, so EP Jordan can move on up to the top for now. It's IRT Julian here. Yes, he is. With Snips provisional
Yeah,
P3 of course until then it is Niels after Snipes, then Matozo who is in. Phil after that, and Andrew. And it is not Eve, ahead of LRN Thomas. Al Pacino, who is here, and what will be P11. Tero is in here, he'll be in. Oh, I've just clicked his profile. What is P12 then now? Will be P11 then. I'm sorry, will be P12 once we get the last of the drivers in. P. Hannibal after that. The Queen after Hannibal. Yes. Right, so our 17 drivers in at the moment. We are, of course, missing Ellie, Michelle, and I believe it is the two LDL drivers. Who?
Those are the ones that crashed out early on.
Yes, they are two of
Well,
the
they
four
might
that
be a
crashed.
bit confused. I'll see if I can give a ping.
2 LDL drivers and LE Michelle B, the two.
Alright, just having a discussion now. Ooh. Don't know what's going on, whether we're doing 50 or 35.
I can see the debate for both, of course. There is definitely an angle on either of them. So we'll see what
Maze has
the
said
decision.
35 is fine. So I think there is 35.
So we'll resume as a 35. I'm just making sure that the drivers that we are waiting on definitely have an invite. An LE. We do have 18 in waiting on 2 drivers at the moment. I think it was LE Michelle who will move on up to the top as they were in qualifying. So the 2 drivers that we are missing at present are the 2 LDL drivers. I'll just change this to a 35% session race before I do forget. And
I'll
see
give it a
if
ping, so.
we do have one of our LDL drivers in here now. So just waiting
Lovely.
on the last, and hopefully, this is the second week and the second restart. Hopefully, not a sign of things to come. So we are just waiting on LDL Lidrill, who will start, of course, in P15. The grid is set up, ready aside from that one caveat, and then it will be, of course, a 20-lap race.
What is that picture of that little blue? What the hell is that?
With Jordan.
Ah.
So I think we're talking about 2 very, very different things.
Yeah, someone's put in the EML chat this little like Smurf looking thing. I don't know what it is, but I've seen it everywhere on Twitter. It's the qualifying grid, right? That we're using.
It's the qualifying grid, yes.
Okay, I'll let all the drivers know.
Just looking at confirmation, just to see how long LDL will have to get into the lobby here. and we'll see if all that is them in, thankfully. So we'll quickly set the grid.
Do you want to run for the grid? Just to double check.
Yeah, we can do. If I quickly move the driver into position, Ladrill, I think was 15th. Yep, so I have it as L.E. Michelle B in P1, Jordan P2, Julian P3, Snips in P4, Niels P5, Matozo 6, Phil in 7, Andrew in 8, Eve in 9, Thomas in 10, Al Pacino 11, Tedo in 12, Haribo 13, Queen in 14, Ladrill in 15, Mateus 16, Kiki Samir 17, Adam 18, Evalon 19, and Jordi Boxtail 20.
Oh, they hit my throat.
Beautiful.
Well, they're going anyway, so...
Oh, we'll need the radio up again quickly because I confirmed the grid. So we'll tell them to ready up and we'll get underway for the second time tonight. And hopefully none of the desync issues do come into play. Hopefully, anyway. We shall wait and see. Going to be starting up into the lobby then within the next 20 seconds and get back to this Australian Grand Prix where, of course, Michelle B was on pole ahead of Jordan. It'll be interesting to see. Of course, we're now going to a 35% race. Will there be a change in strategy? Well, of course, the tyre drag and the tyre life is going to be completely different. There's less of a race to run here, Josh. And there's also more of that race which could be taken up by safety cars, which we've seen a few of to begin with, but will account for some of that maybe towards a little bit of the desync. Of course, clear dry race, what we had. However, just the threat of dodgy internet and
just can't get away from it, can you?
Safety cars.
But at the moment,
just seems like part of everyday life for us here in the UK.
I'm curious to what people will do now because it takes away the bit of punch from the hards with it being 35. I don't know if medium soft is viable. Probably with the safety cars there'll be a chance for it, but I think the mediums can definitely do a good 15, 16 laps. Probably a bit less, and you could probably get a bit more. What is it, 20 laps for a 35?
20 laps here, yep. So
you could definitely pull 7-6 laps out of the softs on a. If you're going under fuel and manage till the end, you should be all right. But yeah, I reckon we'll see a few medium starters compared to the last chance that they had to choose a tyre. Probably a bit more mediums than hards. We'll see though.
Yeah, the medium soft definitely I would say is a viable option potentially for this race. The hards, of course, I think we'll still see a few maybe gamble on that late safety car, get that track position, and then when everybody does ultimately, if there is a late safety car funnel in for the softs. Of course, the tyre deck is going to be completely different, so our ideas of the strategy might be completely wrong. We will find out hopefully very, very shortly. I can hear the beeping noise of the timer running down, so I think we're going to get a fair idea of what tyres will be running. Hopefully no issues on this race.
Wow. A
huge amount of softs. It is going to be 5 red lights for the second time here tonight. And the lights have gone out, but the cars are still there. That's not a...
Oh, Jesus Christ, man. Is that a glitch, or is that just him? I hope it's just him. Very unlucky if it is. Why is the safety car out?
Why is the safety car out?
I hate this game, you know. My head's banging. I need some stuff for these because mine are wearing out, but... Another issue with another session in F1, which you can't get away from at the minute. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen now. For the people watching, it might be a delay again, or I think there might be just a write-off. By the looks of how things are going, I don't get this. How has the safety car come out already? How is that possible?
I genuinely don't know how safety cars came out.
Right, let me get on the belt of maze and see what's the plan.
See what the plan is here. There is a few cars retiring, so whether we're just gonna
for all the teams watching, don't leave the session. Just retire. See if we can get a restart up pretty quick.
Something going again, yeah. That is. I mean, as glitchy as the game has been this year, especially since the patch on Monday. That is.
I can't believe this. I've never seen that. Hopefully, if everyone just retires, we can try and. You have to do the grid again. Jesus Christ. I think we'll try for one more restart, and if something happens again, I think we call it a day. Right. Get back in lobby. And we try once more. We need Eve now, and then we're sorted. No, it's 2 of them. I don't know why, but that Eve is there we go. Okay, I think he gets the point now. He's doing donuts. Just I don't appreciate that. Just get on with it. Let me give him a ping at Eve.
There we go.
There we go. Finally. Just can't get away from it with F1. I don't get it. I don't get how one patch every time they make a patch for something else. They honestly, they could make a patch for fixing Natalie Pinkham's ear in career mode and equal cars will be broke the next day. I don't get it. I don't get how trying to fix one thing breaks another every single time they do an update. It's crazy.
I don't understand either. I mean, I was host last week. Everything was fine. I've hosted and streamed before. Everything's been fine. I've never had an issue once in about 3 years of doing this. And they released a patch on Monday, and it just.
I'd just like to say the race has been fully abandoned. Maze has called it, so it's done. We're done. Jesus Christ. I don't know what the case will be with points and stuff. I don't think they'll give any points. I think they'll just call it quits and maybe reschedule it after the final race. Maybe I'm not too sure. Weird though, very weird. Yeah, that's it. Everything's done.
It's a very, very, very yeah. It's a very, very strange one, it must be said. Answers on a postcard. Yeah, we'll wait and see. I suppose there'll be some more official sort of correspondence with what is actually happened. We have had the official race abandoned, but well, thank you to well, first of all, Josh, thank you for joining me for maybe not the best, but maybe certainly a memorable commentary. We'll yeah, there'll be a look into to see what exactly happened. It might be a case of maybe the game doesn't support if you're streaming and hosting anymore. I know that was there was an issue with previous patch where Spectator was the host and that caused issues. But a Spectator was a host in Lobby 1, it was alright. I was host last week, it was alright, and I suppose the old saying answers on a postcard. But we'll leave it here then, folks. We'll not run this out any longer than it needs to, because it has been a long night for not too much in the way of action. A great qualifying session, but the race just going absolutely peak tong, I believe is the phrase. But once again, Josh, thank you for joining me. Thank you all for bearing through and gritting your teeth with this. And thank you to the 20 drivers who did show up and gave it a go. It's unfortunate, it's disappointing, but thank you still for joining. Make sure then to tune back next week. We'll have a little bit more update on what the plan is for this Australian Grand Prix, and see. Hopefully we have a working game. We'll wait and see. Of course, it is the Japanese Grand Prix next week, so fingers crossed, Josh. Everything's fixed by then. Thank you all once
Sky's
again.
crap. F1's crap. It's all crap.
It's all.
I really want to say other things, but I'll lift it crap.
Once again, then, thank you for joining us, and have a very wonderful rest of your evening.